Good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming to the afternoon session. The speaker is Professor Mrs. Chirasagar Vinay Mahadev. I request Professor to please come to the dais. She is from Pune. She is an MA in Sanskrit. She has obtained PhD, MA in Linguistics. She is now Professor cum Joint General Editor, Department of Sanskrit and Lexicography, Deccan College, Pune, Maharashtra. She has done various research working in the world-famous project of Encyclopedic Dictionary of Sanskrit into English on historical principles since 1985. She has attended more than 35 national and international seminars, conferences, with presentation of papers. More than 40 papers she has published. And she is guiding students for PhD and MPhil. She is also teaching many students from outside countries, preparation of syllabus for many countries, experience of administration work also. I request Mrs. Shirasagar.
नमस्सभायै नमस्सभापतिभ्यः गुरुभ्यः नमः गुरुचरणेभ्यः नमः. First of all, I thank the conveners of this grand meet, which gives the opportunity for Vedic scholars and traditional learners also to present their lore, and I will represent the modern researchers, I will not say scholars, but modern researchers who aspire to do something and to understand Vedic lore. So I begin my paper on some words having double accent in the Vedas. Accents of the words is a characteristic feature of ancient languages such as Vedic Sanskrit, Greek, and many which are lost now. The notion and principle behind the accent in these languages is the same. They indicate the formation of the words and also the importance of meaning. The emphasis on a particular component of the word is normally indicated by this accent, and this technique we use in our expression also when we want to emphasize some meaning or some part of the word. We put some stress on that part and express the importance. Therefore, we can say that the accent is mostly the stress accent. In the Vedic language, we observe that normally a word gets one accent, that is one syllable, is said to be udatta or has acute on it. Mainly this accent indicates the meaning. By the advance of time, we note many variations in the manner or mode of accentuation also, and these changes also indicate difference in the usages of this technique. Generally, as said just now, the word gets its original accent, and thus the formation of the word is indicated by this accentuation, and the shift of accent indicates the point of emphasis or importance attached to it. In a nominal stem, the change of accent helps to understand that word. In action nouns, for example, the noun indicating activity, the accent is found on the verbal root, and when it expresses the agent or the doer, the accent gets shifted on the suffix, which makes that agent noun. Thus, in the noun Brahman, the first in Bra is accented when it means the prayer, and when the meaning is a priest, the suffix an in Brahman gets accent. Similarly, we get Karana accented on the first ka, doing, and Karana accented lastly, indicating the doer. Choda accented on O means impelling, and accented on a means impeller. On the same analogy, noun and adjective in the same word are also indicated by accent variation. Thus, the word apas accented on the first a means work or working and gets accented on the last a in us to indicate the worker or skillful person. Language in usage is always a flowing phenomena and therefore many variations are found in the accentuation also. There are some exceptions to this tendency and some words or word formations are noted as different from the normal pattern. On the one hand, this difference is noted as the words are observed to have no accent at all. The particles like ch, h, vocatives, alternative forms of the personal pronouns like ma, naha, tva, vam, etc. are never accented to indicate their difference from the words having the same pronunciation, that is na will have accent if it is in the sense of similarity. Similarly, the verbs in the principal clause also do not get accent. And on the other hand, we find some constructions that are noted to have double accent. Some infinitives, mostly ending in the suffix tavai, get accent doubly, first on the first syllable and secondly on the last. For example, we have apabharatavai. In this, a is accented initially and y is accented lastly. MacDonnell has said about this accent on the suffix in his Vedic grammar as the udatta on the first syllable is probably to be explained as a secondary accent like that of the Shatapatha Brahmana in intensives and compounds like Balbaliti, Ekachatvarimshat, where an accent at the beginning of the word is counterbalanced by another at the end. In such a case, we can say that to indicate the importance of the suffix api, it is accented, it is accented and also bhartavai is accented in the normal way of the infinitives. Intensives like balbaliti get double accent to indicate intensivity or the intention of the duplication of the action. Therefore, the action also is repeated, that is, the root is reduplicated and it is emphasized by the accent also. There are some compounds known as the Devatadvandva compounds. In these compounds, both the members are nouns indicating the deities and are present in the dual form of the nominative like Indra Vishnu, Mitra Varuna, etc. and both the members retain their original accent. These accents explain the importance given to both the members, that is, the deities in such a formation, as the prayers and supplications are addressed to both of them. Perhaps this fact is pointed out in the system of grammar, which describes the compound dvandva as being ubhaya padartha pradhana. There are also some compounds in which the first member is almost always a genitive in form and gets accent on the both the members, such as Brahmanaspati, Brihaspati, Vachaspati, etc. In the same manner, some compounds not ending in pati also get accent on both the members like apam, napat, etc. In many such compounds, the first member is noted to be a genitive form, but there are some cases where they are singly accented even they contain the genitive, such as Divodasa. It is a name of a king. And it is observed that the names of persons in genitive aluk compounds are mostly not accented doubly, and some compounds even not getting the genitive as the first member are accented doubly. For example, Vanaspati, Sadaspati, the lord of seat, and probably for haplology as Sadasaspati, the accent is retained but the case is lost. And also we have Rathaspati. Normally the compounds are shown separately in the Padapatha but as one word with avagraha sign. But some of these compounds are not treated as a compound in the Padapatha, but they are treated only as one word. Therefore, in Rathaspati, we get in the Padapatha Rathaha Pati in two dandas, that is, the word is one, but it is not treated as a compound. We find a compound Gnaspati at Rigveda 238.10, which has accent both on Gnas and Pati. The word Gnas is not clear. Its meaning is given variously by Sayana as either the divine woman or the Chandas. Formation of this word is rather different as the word Gna is found used isolatedly in the Rigveda at 1:22:10, 5:43:13, and there are many cases. And in later Samhitas like Taittiriya Samhita also it is found used. It is also used in the compound word Gnavat at Rigveda 1:15:3. But we cannot give convincing justification for the use of sna s in after Gna, that is Gnaspati, why this sa is inserted. Moreover, there is one more compound at Rigveda 4:34:7 where the form is Gnaspatni. All the formations of this word Gna or Gnas, its declension and also the compounds are not easy to explain. So also is different its accentuation. The compound Gnaspatni is called as anomalous by MacDonald, but we cannot skip it by using such explanation as there is certainly some intention behind such usages. We do not see it or cannot find it out, but it's our duty to find it out and explain because it has some other meaning to convey. Padapatha many times indicates towards it. This word is shown as one word but not as a compound, just I said it, and have Gnaha Patniphihi at 4:34:7. Similarly, there is another expression Rathaspati which has the double accent like the word having Pati as the second member, but the first member is not in genitive. At Rigveda 5:55 it occurs as Eshate Devaneta Rathaspatihi, and Padapatha there shows Rathaha Patihi. Also in Rigveda 10:64:10 this word occurs along with Bhaga and is indicated in the same way in the Padapatha. Clearly, Sayana explains this word differently. At 5:55 he says Sarvasya Palakaha. How Ratha is Sarva, that is not clear to me. And at 10:64:10 he has to say Rathasya Patihi. In the hymn 1093 again, this word occurs with Bhaga in the 7th Ruk, where Sayana says Rathasya Patihi Pusha. In the 6th Ruk of the same hymn, there occurs an adjective Shubhaspati in dual, qualifying Ashvina. But we cannot think them either to be analogous with Rathaspati or a compound ending in Pati, because the Padapatha shows Shubhaha and Pati as two separate padas with separating them by Dandamark. There arises a problem in the case of Shubhaha as how to treat his form in genitive, as Sayana suggests Shubhasya Udakasya Pati. But we do not find genitive of Shubha as Shubhaha. We can say that it is from the root Shubh to shine with the addition of suffix quip and without guna according to Panini 7:386. Moreover, Sayana treats it as one word, and the same expression with Deva Ashvina is found in the Atharva Veda Shaunaka 6:3:3. Here also Padapatha gives them as two separate words, and Sayana explains the word in a different manner. Here he gives the explanation regarding the formation of the word and treats it again as a single word, but does not explain the double accent either in the Rigveda or in the Atharva Veda. For some other formations, We can say that perhaps the word or the first member of this compound in Rathaspati is Rathar. It is found used in the verbal denominative forms like Rathariyati, Rathariyasi, and Rathariyataha. All these forms indicate the desire, but the word is explained in many ways as the synonym for the noun indicating rasa, the sap, or deepti, luster, and also a vehicle, vahana. Still, the double accent of the compound Rathaspati is somewhat inexplicable. MacDonald has to say about such formations accented doubly as perhaps because of the insertion of sa on the analogy of Bruhaspati. In later Samhita of the Maitrayani also, we get Nrumspati formulated in the same manner and also accented doubly in the same way. Perhaps we can say that this must have been the style of giving stress on both the members and therefore they are accented. Also there are examples of the example of the word, there is example of the word Jaspati having double accent occurring at Rigveda 7:38-6, but in the Rigveda we find it having single accent also only at 585:7 and 185:8. This single accent is explained as that of a Shashti Tatpurusha compound. These double accented compounds also are sometimes explained as Shashti Tatpurusha compound, but it is a bit curious that the accent having, the word having single accent is also Shashti Tatpurusha and having double accent is also Shashti Tatpurusha. These compounds are not the examples of common compounds, or rather they are more than general formations. In these formations, the emphasis from the point of view of meaning is on the both padas. Still they are not the general Dvandva compounds. They indicate one single unit. Therefore in the Padapatha, they are not separated as two words, but they are not disjoined by an avagraha, a separator mark. They are not to be treated as formal compounds also. Therefore, perhaps some indicatory mark like sa is introduced in between. Like this double accentuation of compounds is the frequent accentuation of both the verbal suffix and the verb at the same time. Normally, when the verb in a principal clause does not get accent and its prefix is accented, and when the case is otherwise, in subordinate clause the verb gets accent and sometimes its prefix loses the accent. But there are some cases when the suffix also is accented and the verb or verbal form is accented. For example, we have abhi kopayet. Abhi is accented on bhi, gopayet is accented on ye. Such verbs pose out a dilemma as to the treatment to be given to them. Should they be treated as one word or as two words? Some of them can be explained in different way, taking into consideration their semantic relationship. Taking into consideration their semantic relationship, and some of them need to be explained in yet another way. Let us take up the example of the word anupravodhum, an infinitive of the root vaha with two preverbs anu and pra. This form occurs in the Atharva Veda at 1959:3, reading Adevanam api panthamaganma yat shaknabama tadanupravodhum. Here it has accent only on pra. In the Rigveda it is found at 10:2-3 as anupravodhum. In the Taittiriya Samhita at 1:1:14:3. It occurs also in the Maitrayani Samhita, but in the Taittiriya and the Rigveda, its both prefixes are accented, that is, it is accented on anu and pra. In the Rigveda, this supposedly double accent is explained by the Padapatha by separating Anu from Pravolum by a vertical line that is treating them as different words, Anu a separate Pada. The Taittiriya Padapatha also treats Anu separately, Anviti, Pravodhumiti, Pravodhum. In the Maitrayani also this mantra occurs at 4.10.2 and has accent both on Anu and Pra. If we consider Sayana's commentary on the Rigvedic verse, we note that he treats Anu as an adnominal, that is karma pravachaniya, though not stating in clear words. He explains tadanu pravodhum as tat karma anukramena prakarshena vodhum samaptim prapayitum samartha bhavema. Thus, following the Rigveda, Taittiriya Samhita and Maitrayani Samhita, we have to say that Anu is a separate pada. It is to be treated as an adnominal governing tad. In such a case, pravodhum will be a separate vocable. Now there is a problem that whether this word Anu pravodhum is, as in the Atharva Veda, as a single word, or for in the other traditions, Anu separate and pravodhum as a separate word. Then the meaning of it also will differ. While noting the variations in the accentuation, we have to note the earlier and later in the behavior of the language and take the help, and this will help in the interpretation of this particular mantra. If prefix Anu is not accented, we'll have to think its meaning together with that of pravodhum and not with the earlier words or the some accusative cases which precedes it. There is another illustration of the vocable anupravishta. In Taittiriya Samhita, it occurs at 4.2.6.5 as ya oshadhayaha somaradnihi pravishtaha prithivim anu tasam tvamasi uttama. Here, the prefix anu occurs after pravishta prithivim, but the commentators take it as prithivim anu pravishtaha, perhaps as an adnominal which governs the accusative case prithivim. But Vishwabandhu's dictionary notes this entry and as single entry anu pravishta, and here the accent is not shown on anu. As anu is accentless, it can be construed with pravishta at the preceding position. Therefore, we have to think it as a single entry, but at some other places it is to be taken together with pravishta. There are some readings. There is a variant reading for this anupravishta in Rigveda 10.97.19 as anu vishtitaha with the accent of both on anu and vi. This can be explained as anu can be the karma pravachaniya, and thus we can notice that while rendering the meaning and further interpretation of such entries, we have to take into consideration the accent of these words and be very careful. But while entering such entries in the dictionary, there occurs a problem. As I am working in the dictionary, we have many times faced this problem, and I want to pose it before the learned scholars, that how to enter these words, how either can they be entered as a single word or can they be entered as separate, because there are some traditions which treat them singly together having double accent, and there are some scholars who treat them separately. Only I have to say here that meaning is the deciding factor. Such cases are explained variously by the traditional commentators like Venkatamadhava, Sayana, Skandaswamin, etc. Padapatha also gives clues for explaining and understanding them. These can be said to be different interpretations of such words. One thing is certain, that the importance of the meaning and the emphasis given on it is conveyed through such novel ways of accentuations, which was important for the presentation of the text orally. They convey to us some different and meaningful message, and we have to try to decipher this meaning instead of considering them anomalous or wrong. Language is always changing and flowing. We cannot predict or regulate the behavior of it. Such changes in common practices are the proofs of the liveliness of language, and they need a careful and scientific study. Thank you.
Your case of Anupravodam, I have collected 60 such occurrences in all the Vedas. And there is a Shiksha which gives such explanation where if 3 Upasargas are there. Very good example is Anu Samprayatagne, Anu Anviti Sampreti Yata. That is what we have in the Padapata. If 3 Upasargas are there, second one is not, Itikarana is not given to that. This is one case. Anu Paryavartate, Abhi Paryavartate, Abhi Pari or Anu Pari Anda when they come. What you rightly said is there, meaning decides that. But actually, even to decide the meaning sometimes, the Swaras help. There is some kind of, a chakraka there. Yeah, but as far as the dictionary goes, of course, I am also part of the dictionary project. It is important that we need to put maybe 2 entries or mark them specially kind of. Thanks a lot, and you really drew the attention to the important issues about meaning and accent together, without which Vedas, of course, will lose their uniqueness. Thank you.
Yeah. Only I want to add that we make. Here I want to point out that in such cases, we make some special comment or tagging for such entries.
We request all the speakers to give their manuscripts because we are coming out with a souvenir. Therefore, I request whatever you have written, please give it to us.